Hey Buns, today we are going to talk about changes, fixes, and improvements that could be made to Final Fantasy XIV. And before we move further, I feel like just asking what would you fix about Final Fantasy XIV is enough to upset some people. I actually have had to clarify more than one time that when I ask what would you fix about Final Fantasy XIV, I'm not implying, I don't mean to imply that the game is fundamentally broken. Okay, it's not all or nothing. There can be a state that the game is in between it's completely dilapidated and crumbling and we just have to desperately fix it to put it back together. And the game is so perfect that there's literally nothing that could be changed to improve it. All right. There's somewhere in between those two things where I believe we are and where most things are in life, contrary to what you might hear on the internet. There's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement, especially in an MMO as large and as old as Final Fantasy XIV. So please don't think that we're out here trying to just crap on the game. We are here trying to focus on solutions and not even just the stuff that I really, for this video today, I wanted to focus on the main complaints and suggestions and fixes that people want that I've heard come up time and time again. I put up a tweet and I got almost 700 responses and I read through them all, and I could mostly put everything into just a few major categories that people seem to complain about the most, that people want to see changes in the most. As a wise bun did point out, 14 is great in a lot of ways, but frustrating in others. The former does outnumber the latter, but that doesn't discount the latter entirely. Otherwise, the game never has a chance of improving. So the first one that people bring up time and time again is the netcode. The netcode, this built-in lag that the game has, and how long it takes for things like your character position to update. I don't know if you've ever tried to follow somebody in a fight to just see where they're going. This is not a good idea, and it is not advised, because wherever it looks like they are on your screen is not where they are. Of course, this leads to problems in PvP scenarios where it's hard to know where another person is exactly on your screen. One person pointed out that the bag ping gets you murdered. I'm sure that's true in a lot of PvP situations, but in FF14 it's especially noticeable because it really needs to be pretty snappy so you can make quick reactions to stuff. One person pointed out that it could fundamentally disrupt the entire way jobs and boss encounters are designed, so it probably never happened. Well, actually, it does seem like they still design the boss encounters as though this does not exist. There's some straight up sadistic things they ask you to do, considering the netcode of the game. Things like passing off tethers or just needing to be in a specific spot at a certain time. Like, you need to be there ahead of time because the game won't register you as being in that spot unless you're there faster than you need to be, which is pretty annoying. Yes, I know that they built this into the game because it's supposed to reduce the load on the server. And even with that, the servers seem to have a pretty hard time when there's a lot of people in the same area. So I get that the server needs all the help it can get, but I do wish that we could see some improvements on the responsiveness of the game. The open world now, this is actually really closely tied into the last thing that we mentioned, about like lots of people being in the same area, and anytime that happens, well, I don't know if you've ever tried to kill a hunt boss in the world right after the server, this expansion came out, because if you have been in a zone when a buttload of people are in it, and you have seen the boss just vanish and flicker out of existence. You can't even see it. Like, it just, everything seems to be breaking down. The fabric of reality just falls apart. You can't, you just have to kind of trust and like follow everyone else with where they are going to fight the boss. It is really jank. It is really embarrassing. But I really think, and also I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where there was a lot of people in a zone and you couldn't leave.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Your destination is currently congested. Okay, should I just keep spamming it?
Like, I had a party one time on EU servers, cross data center party with Preach, and People couldn't leave their houses because we had so many people in one residential district. People that were living in Ishgard were literally trapped inside their homes. Unfortunately, I do think that that is a big reason why we don't have a ton of open world content, why they've really shied away from ever adding a lot of open world content. That would draw people out into all those different zones. And usually the way that they handle it is just add extra instances of the same zone, and they'll make instanced content like Baja or Eureka as a band-aid for this problem. But I do wish that there is something else that they could do for that. One person who's actually a new player said that they're a new player. They've only been in the game for a very short time. They're super casual, but they feel like the world feels so empty. Zones feel like places for the main story quest to take place in, but otherwise lack personality, feel hollow, and lack charm. And one thing that I thought was, well, maybe if we can't have it be truly open world content, maybe let us enter an instanced version of that zone where we could do the open world content. Like if we have to make it this weird jank band-aid strat for it to be a place that we can do more exciting stuff in with lots of people without it breaking the game, then why not do that? Like just maybe make a copy of a region like Ultima Thule as if it were a Eureka region, or as if it were a Baja region, or Zadnor. And so I could spend more time in some of these beautiful zones. Like Ultima Thule is one of the most amazing zones I've ever seen in a game. Like it just blew my mind with how incredible it is. And I never go there. I never go. Like, I mean, we were there for Chi. Maybe they could add some more world bosses because everybody was excited about Chi. I wish maybe they could add more stuff like that. Look, tougher world bosses, super world bosses for people to fight. I would find a way to make all the zones that are currently in the game have more to them. The only things people go to the open world for is gathering, fates, main story, and side quests. We need more open world content to make the world more engaging. After playing Genshin and even WoW to a degree, it's kind of nice to just feel like, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm just going to run through this huge zone and look for little treasures that I might find hidden around, and like run into special puzzles and things that I can do and get little rewards for along the way. Like I wouldn't mind feeling like exploring and getting lost in the open world was a viable type of content that I could do, at least for a while. Now this next one is probably the most desired change that people have asked for. And for me, this one is probably nearest and dearest to my heart. Obviously, the transmog system, the glamour system. For the love of God, please. I feel like I don't know what it's going to take to get this to happen, but we just need the system that lets you pick up the armor appearance and you learn it. And then it's just saved automatically to your glamour dresser. Not a thing that you need to carry around for the rest of your mortal lifespan, and you can't ever delete anything, and you need 9 different retainers, and you need a full glamour dresser. Like, just put as many glamour dresser slots in the glamour dresser as there are number of items in the game. I don't care what it takes for them to do this. Like, I don't care what other content they need to kill. Okay, not ultimate, but other content they need to kill to make this happen. But right now, it is so annoying. It is so frustrating that Final Fantasy XIV has some of the best looking gear in any game. Most beautiful outfits I've ever seen. I want to collect every single one of them, of course. And yet, I can't because I simply do not have the space. And even if I have the space, half of that shit has to go in the retainers. And then I don't even have like a unified bank for all of the retainers. I have to talk to each retainer individually and then type, okay, / I search Neo-ish Guardian butt plug or whatever. And then find, okay, well, this is going to be in the 10th tab of Retainer 5. And then I have to go hunt that down. God, it's so frustrating because I love collecting things. I love, getting the little crow brain dopium every time I pick up something that I didn't have before. And wow, there's an add-on for that that gives you a little sound effect whenever you pick up something you didn't have. And it's so great because it makes you want to do every piece of content in the entire game. Like, everything now becomes very relevant. Stuff that you didn't even want before, like appearances of items, you would want to get the appearance just to unlock the appearance, to have it part of your collection. As much as I hate to admit it, WoW's is better. There are so many items of Final Fantasy, some sharing a model / being a recolor, that it's hard to keep track of it, to regrind for. This is our curse and our burden as Glamour enjoyers in Final Fantasy XIV. Because what happens is, you just start to memorize it all. As if it wasn't bad enough that you don't learn what the appearance looks like. It doesn't go into a little catalog that you have. As if that wasn't bad enough, and it is. You also can't easily access all of this fucking shit that you've collected. Because there's the armor, there's the glamour dresser, and it's like a process to put it into the glamour dresser, and then there's all your different retainers, and you can't just put it from your retainer straight into the glamour dresser. You've got to go take it out of the retainer and then put it in the glamour dresser, and then from there. Oh my god. Okay. Whatever. Let's move on. I mean, we all would like that to be fixed. This is a big one. Actually, this one is probably the most damaging one, I think, to the game, that we don't always see the damage. We're not able to accurately gauge, without the data from Square Enix themselves, how many new players try to play the game but give up because installing the game is too damn complicated. It's so rough, man. Like, if you can make it past making an account and the installing and the making a MogStation account and a Square Enix account, and then figuring out, okay, do I need to be on the Steam store, or do I need to be on the store from the website, and then how are those different? Well, what if I start the free trial on Steam and then I want to go to the regular version of... Oh my god. It's honestly, I think it is a testament to how great Final Fantasy XIV is that we still get so many new players actually making it into and through the game. With how oppressive it is to get people in at all. And I think related to this issue of the new player experience is the user interface. I remember when I was a brand new player, I found this to be very jarring and difficult. And I actually remember talking to someone who had been playing for longer than me when I was new. And they were like, oh, what's the one thing you would change about Final Fantasy XIV? And I said, the UI. Like, the UI is so many menus and crap to click through all the time. And I remember them acting surprised. Like, what? UI? And I was like surprised that they were surprised. Like, well, what do you mean? What the UI? Like, but now I know, after playing for a long time myself, that you just get used to it. You really just get used to it after a while. And if you play for a long time, you forget how impossible it was to read the map or get through the menus or know which menu goes to what whenever you were newer. Hell, I still get lost trying to turn in the little doodads for different gear upgrades. I've been playing this game for a very long time, and every time I have to do that, I'm like, well, wait, so I need the tombstone of the comedy, and I also need an extra one of clownery, and then I need to turn both of those in with my panties to the Aura mail in the city, but which one needs them? Oh my god. And this is another thing all related to this big umbrella of the new player experience. Streamline the story. Now, you might say, oh, but wait, they already did that. They kind of didn't, okay? They cut down 13% of Realm Reborn. They spent a ton of time revamping Realm Reborn, and I still feel like they could cut it down a lot more, and it seems that many people do agree. Streamline Realm Reborn a lot more. The game would be massively more populated without the great filter that is Realm Reborn. That's the second great filter. Again, the first great filter is installing the game. It gets good in 500 hours, bro. Is not a reasonable request by any means. Well, we'll get good a lot faster than 500 hours. But I love the game. It's my favorite FF. Can't fault anyone for dropping it. That's why Yoshi P had been hinting at fairly recently that there might be a fresh start that people could maybe start at the story for Dawn Trail instead of having to like maybe make that possible to skip for new players. I think that makes a lot of sense. With a new story arc, I wouldn't have any issue with that. It seems like the right time to do that, because I agree, as time goes on, it starts to get really crazy to tell people, hey, I really wish you would play Final Fantasy XIV with me, but before you can, please play 400 hours of content. And no, you're not allowed to skip it. You better not. You better not. Anyway. Now, of course, I've seen a huge range of different things that people have requested and wanted. Things like wanting housing to be improved in various ways, wanting job design to be more interesting, and wanting Lalafels to be able to jump on your back and use you as a mount right on your shoulders. Like, yes. Jesse is still at it. Jesse is still campaigning for that. He has not forgotten. Stuff like wanting a calendar, wanting level sync to feel less bad, because it sucks to get level synced down, and you don't get to keep your whole kit. Like, that feels bad. I agree. Look, there was a lot of different things, but today I really just wanted to focus on the ones that like an insane number of people have requested and complained about it, and just kept going back to these same topics. So the last biggest one, probably the biggest one, is the reward structure, the gearing, the itemization, and how all of that works. That's the main problem with everything. They need to either change the gear to make it more interesting and varied and award more of it, or they need to give us more than 2 options for BIS, tome or raid loot. It seems like someone was right about this all along.
The reward system in Final Fantasy XIV has always been absolute fucking abysmal. It just perplexes me that you have the raid and it's like a set item level, and then every piece of content that comes out after the raid that is supposed to help you with the raid is lower item level. I don't understand it. By the time that the new content comes out that's supposed to help you with the raid tier is already deader than dead. Basically, you would have more people do this trial if it dropped a BIS. You would have more people do this 24-man if it dropped BIS accessories. This would also be amazing for alts. So even if you had... Jesus, man. I've already said all this, man. I've been saying this for years, man.
The biggest issue with the raid gearing is that it seems like the timescales are way off. Like, they just don't match with reality at all. Right now, the raid tier, you can't really farm it for loot until 8 months have passed. So the raid comes out, and then the next major patch comes out 4 months later. And by that point, that's an odd-numbered patch. That's supposed to be a catch-up patch. But by that point, it's been 4 months since the raid came out, Savage came out, and no one cares about it anymore. So that gear should be easy to get 4 months after the fact. Hopefully sooner, but by 4 months, damn, like, if you still haven't gotten the Savage gear, shouldn't they make it a lot easier to get the Savage level gear? And by the time the new content comes out, well, they don't. They don't. Like, the Alliance raid comes out on that odd number patch, and it doesn't drop Savage level gear. Sometimes an Ultimate raid will come out on that odd numbered patch, and you need to have cleared Savage to go into it. You need that Savage level gear real bad to do Ultimate, but it's not exactly falling off the trees. You have to, that's supposed to be a catch-up patch. So why not have the Savage gear drop from the 24 minutes? Have the Savage gear level gear drop from Criterion's at that point. Let there be more pathways for people to gear up their current job and alt jobs. I don't really see a reason why they wouldn't let this be. I just don't see a reason why they are making it so hard so long after the Savage tier is even relevant for people to get the gear they need to do it. We just need different ways, different routes to get to where you want to go. And that's just going to make the game more interesting overall. Like, not everybody wants to sit there and farm tomestones the same way in Duty Roulette every day for months and months and months. Like, there's got to be some more ways, efficient ways to get the tomestones. If you're going to be asked to grind so many of them to play so different jobs, then maybe have different things besides just Duty Roulette. Because even if you like Duty Roulette at first, you might want to do something else one day. It honestly feels like it's just an antiquated system and it's old and they never got around to critically thinking about, well, is this even working now? How are players really engaging with this? And is this a system that is helping us or is it hurting us? Is this an obstacle for players or is it meant to give the gear value? Because right now it definitely feels like a much bigger obstacle than it needs to be. But at the same time, it also seems like something that's relatively easy to fix. So Yoshi P did say they are going to add new rewards to Criterion in the next patch. I seriously doubt they'll put Biz gear in there, but who knows? Anything could happen. There's so many beautiful things about Final Fantasy XIV. Like, I love experimenting with different jobs and bouncing around different playstyles because it can actually make you a better player to see what it's like to be a tank. That might teach you about healing. If you heal, it might teach you about tanking, actually. And it helps you relate to other players better. And I think it just helps you be more well-rounded. That's the type of play that they should absolutely encourage. But it just sometimes, it feels like with the game, it's like a beautiful garden and there are these flowers growing in it that you could see they're blooming, but if you don't trim some of the weeds that are going around, then they might get smothered and die. So I kind of see problems like shitty itemization that gets in the way of players wanting to play the game as they want, like systems that just feel cumbersome and old and bothersome to get through and like make you just not even want to worry about it, or discourage you from playing different ways. Just gotta snip all that shit out, and I just gotta cut all that shit out of there, so that way the beauty of the game can shine through. What players actually enjoy can be appreciated and embraced. So that's really all for today. I would love to hear from you. Let me know what kind of changes, improvements, or fixes that you would like to see to Final Fantasy XIV going forward. What are your favorite things about the game? And you ever felt like there's a system that was just kind of getting in the way of you enjoying this beautiful thing like Glamour, for example, or multi-job, playing lots of different jobs, or whatever it is? I'd love to hear from you about that, so let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please consider supporting the channel on Patreon or on Twitch. You can also support the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button or by sharing this video with your fellow bun buns. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, don't forget, there's a live letter this Saturday at 11 p.m. PT. I will be there, restreaming it live. So I'll see you on twitch.tv/SepalHQ on Saturday night. Bye, everyone. Bye.